Okay, with the new FIH requirements for international hockey, there's a few issues with some sticks and making sure that they pass the initial check. Couple of options that we can do, and one is to add some tape to the face to the point of maximum bow, and the other is to remove the end cap and then re-grip a stick. So I'll just quickly show you obviously how to do both. The first one's pretty self-explanatory. I've just got some shaft guard here. I mean, you can use any sort of sports strapping tape or anything like that. So we'll simply take this off. We'll add it onto the point of most bows. So on this stick here, let's say if it's here around the center, you simply needed to add it to these edges. So each strip here is about 1 millimeter thick, and that'll increase, that'll obviously help to decrease the bow as the stick lies flat. So you can add a couple of pieces to each edge or across the whole face, depending on where you're having issues. So that's pretty simple. So right now that'll make this stick pass with no problems. But as you see, when the device goes in, it'll still hit that edge. If there's any more issues, or if your stick has more bow than this, then simply continue to add strips to the edges. It's not really on the playing surface, it's not down on the head of the stick, so you should have no issues with the way you play. Now the second option that we can show you is to remove this end cap. The end cap adds about 2 millimeters to the bow, also if you use a thick grip. So obviously we'll take the grip off and I'll show you how we get the end cap off, which is pretty simple. You either need access to a heat gun or a hairdryer. If you don't have access to any of those, then you'll need a cup of boiling water alternatively. If we just come in close, I can show you exactly what we've got here. Essentially it's a plastic end cap. Sometimes there's a little bit of tape around the bottom of this. If so, you just need a knife. Score the bottom of the tape, so we can just run that knife around to cut that tape through, and that's no problem, so that'll free the end cap up. If you're in a hotel, you don't have a hairdryer or a heat gun, simply a cup of boiling water. Immerse the whole cap in there for about a minute or so, and then once that's hot enough, you can simply, using a cloth, dry it, grab it, and then twist it off. But I'll show you with also the heat gun. So we simply need to add some heat to it. It's got a heat-sensitive glue underneath, so we'll just add a little bit of heat all the way around the stick. Just loosens the plastic up a bit. Okay, so now we can just simply twist it off. It comes off easy. We'll have a look underneath. There should be a bit of tape there already. If there's not, there's no issues. The tape just comes over the edge of the stick. As you can see, when you look down the stick, there's the channels and everything. None of this really matters if it's covered or not. If you want, you can add a little bit of tape to it to add a little bit of thickness back, depending on how much you need to add. And you can also just run around the top because it makes that top edge nice and smooth in the hand. Push that down. So already you can see with the removal of the end cap, the difference in the thickness of the two materials. So with that, it's pretty simple. We then just need to re-grip the stick, and you'll be right to go and the stick will pass. And that there is pretty much how it's done. As you can see now, when you look at the end of the handle, it's a lot thinner. If you want, you can tidy this up, simply trim it off. But between adding some tape to the face and also taking the end cap off, you're pretty much certain that most sticks will pass then. Obviously, if there's any further issues, the other things that you can continue to do is simply take a bit of a shaving off the bottom edge of the stick here. You only need to remove about 1 millimeter. You can do that by dragging it on the concrete on a rough surface, or use a file or a metal rasp. Pretty simple. Further, if you need more bow removed, depending if you're using a low bow stick or not, you can do the same up here, where you can take a little bit of the edge off this, just flatten it out a bit, and that'll make the stick sit nice and flat and natural. But between those sort of solutions, you should be able to make any stick pass with this new rule.